Hey everyone, this is Dave Meyer coming to you live from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, coming to talk to you today about using data to grow your portfolio. And whether you're getting started in real estate investing or you're trying to expand rapidly, data can be extremely helpful in that, and it's not something to be scared of. So we're going to be talking all about that today. I will give a couple of minutes here so that people can join us. I know it's relatively early there in the United States. It is already 4:30 in the afternoon here for me. If you can hear me and see me, please comment and let me know. And let me know if there's any particular questions you have, anything that you'd like me to cover in this live video about data or about anything that we're doing here on BiggerPockets. One of the things I am going to be talking about today is our newest product, which is called BPInsights. It just really launched yesterday, and we're still in the beta mode, which means that it is we're just getting started, basically. It's like a software website term for a trial period. But we have this unbelievable amount of value already to share with you. So I'm going to walk you through some of the newest features that we have here on BiggerPockets, and we can go through any of the data that you are interested in. And then at the end, I will be around to ask some questions. So definitely post any questions, any things that you have here in the live comments. That would be great. Hey, Nia, nice to have you. Thanks, Adana, Dale, Michelle. That's awesome. I am glad that you are all here. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, Shelly. This is great. I'm excited to be talking about data. This is sort of my thing. I don't know if any of you guys listened to the BiggerPockets rookie podcast that came out yesterday. I was on there yesterday with one of the BiggerPockets users, talking to him about which market they should find, how to find great data to make your data analysis and deal analysis even better. And so so check that out if you haven't. I was just reading a comment. Aaron McAvoy said, Eric McAvoy just signed up for BPInsights yesterday. I'd love to see how to best use it compared to markets. That's awesome. I am going to show you a little bit about that, Eric. Great question. And thanks for checking out BPInsights. Super excited about it. It's going to be great. Okay, so we waited a couple minutes. Appreciate you all being here. And I will get started. So again, today we're going to talk through just using data in general, and I'm going to be showing you about BPInsights. So I didn't really make that many slides, to be honest. I have a couple of points just about data and an introduction to some of the things you should be thinking about. And then we're just going to do sort of a walkthrough for some of the stuff that we have here on BPInsights. So before we get into that, who am I? My name is Dave Meyer. Again, if you're just joining us, I am the Vice President of Growth and Analytics here at BiggerPockets. I've worked here for about 4.5 years. I've also been a real estate investor for about 10 years. I do long and short-term rentals, pretty much entirely in Colorado, mostly in Denver. And the reason that I am always doing Facebook Lives and on the podcast and all this stuff about data is I am trained in that. I have a master's degree in data science. And so although that's not what I do on a day-to-day basis every day at BiggerPockets, it is something I'm really interested in. And so when we started working on BPInsights and we needed to write some content and talk about data, I was very excited about that. So that's what I'm doing. Again, I was on this week's rookie show, so check that out. I was on the podcast, the main podcast, a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to hear anything more about me, my investing, or how to use data in different ways that I talked about on those podcasts, definitely check that out. So let's first just talk about what data is. I think a lot of people say to me, I'm not a data person, or, I'm not good at math, so I'm not going to be a great real estate investor or something like that. But when I talk about data, at least in this context, about real estate investing, I'm not talking about anything that is complex. This is not, college level math. This is not even probably high school level math. We're talking about maybe middle school or elementary school level math. Like it's multiplying and dividing a couple times, but you might not even need to do that because BPInsights provides a lot of that already computed for you. But the general thing I want to convey to you all is that data is not scary. What data means, if you look up the definition for it, it's basically just a piece of information. And if you are a real estate investor, you should be welcoming as much information as you can, to make a great decision about where to buy, what kind of property to buy. You should try and gather as much information as you can. The more informed you are, the more likely you are to make a strong decision that is in service of your long-term goals of building your portfolio. So I just want to get over that hump, because I think when we talk about this stuff, it can seem intimidating, but when we're talking about data in the context of real estate investing, talking about simple information that's going to help you make a good decision about where and when to invest. So I will just talk about real estate investing in general. Another thing that I also say is that want to convey is that data is not everything. Data is not going to solve all of your problems. It is not the silver bullet for real estate investing, but it is extremely helpful in solving what I think is about half of the puzzle. The first half is operations. So you can't do a deal without having a team. You need an agent. You need a lender in most cases. You need to know how to do your taxes. You need to be able to screen tenants and to manage those tenants and to manage those relationships. That is stuff that data can't really help you with. You need to just invest the time to learn that. You need to network. Again, great things to do on BiggerPockets as well. But that kind of stuff, not really what we're talking about here today in terms of data and what BPInsights can do. The second piece of the puzzle is really deal and market selection. So once you sort of have your infrastructure in place where you can, you have a team and you're able to manage the day-to-day operations, you need to know where to buy, when to buy, and know when you've found a good deal. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. That is what BPInsights is for. And we're going to talk about some specifics there today. All right, so going on to this next slide, I'll just, on a high level, if you guys subscribe to BPInsights or if you read, Scott Trench, our CEO, actually released a great blog post about this yesterday, just about what kind of data and information you need to be a successful real estate investor. Here's just a high level overview. I'm particularly talking about buy and hold investing and short-term rentals, but if you're flipping or wholesaling, much of this is really the same. You need to know estimated cash flows. Like you need to be able to know how much a property or a market is expected to make you. You need rent comp. So if you buy a 2-bed, 1-bath in Denver, you need to know roughly how much that would net you versus if you bought in the next town over or the next state over. Next, you need sales information and data. So how much are properties going for? It's super helpful to know owner occupancy, vacancy rates, rates like how much an HOA costs. All of that is super important, particularly if you're trying to flip. It really will help you identify markets that are identify deals that are potentially off market and can help you find places that might be good for burr or flip. One thing that the last two here are not things that are available in BPInsights, just to be candid, but I do think they're super important and you can just find them by Googling or by looking through the census is also really helpful. Net migration data, when I look through markets, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but when I look through markets, I always want to know if more people are moving to that city or leaving. And that's just simple supply and demand, and I'll talk about that more in a minute. And then lastly, employment data. Again, we'll talk about this, but I really think it's important to have a diverse employment base in a town or a city that you're going to invest in. So of all of those things, BPInsights offers rent comp, sales data, property valuation, rent to price ratios, and rent growth statistics. Again, I said this in the beginning, but I just want to reiterate, we're in a beta mode for BPInsights. That means it's basically an entry trial period where we are launching things, we're getting feedback from our customers, and we're rapidly trying to make it better. And so we are trying to, we are just launching this stuff now, but we're going to be delivering way more value over time. And if you're interested in joining BP Insights, stick around to the end, because I do have a deal for everyone. It's honestly, I think it is literally the best deal that we offer for the entire year. So if you have been thinking about joining BP Pro, BP Insights, BP Premium, you could you stick around for that. We'll get to that at the end. But for now, let me know if you guys can see me. I'm going to go through, not see me, see my screen here. I'm going to go through and actually show you guys this BP Insights. Okay, so let me know if you guys can see me. All right. I hope you all can see this. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so this is sort of the landing page. And so there's three primary things that we're offering right now with BP Insights. Again, we're going to be expanding this dramatically over the next several years, honestly. But here's the first thing that you can do. So we're going to find an address in Denver. So I am going to search for an address. Let's look for something in Capitol Hill. I don't know. Let's do 1125 Emerson Street, Denver, Colorado. So this is in Denver. So it found 1125 North Emerson Street in Denver, and it comes in. Let's look for a 1-bed, 1-bath. So what we've done here is the first thing that we have here is that you can actually look up rents for your area. So I just picked this randomly. This is actually in a neighborhood I invest relatively close to. And I want to know what the rent is in this area. You might have heard of a tool called Rentometer. So what we've done is something similar to that. We think our tool is just as good and offers a lot more. But basically what it shows is the median rent here is around $1,100. So just to remind everyone what the median is, instead of using an average where you add up all of them and divide it by the number of records, we're taking the middle point. So this means of all of the rents in this area, the middle one is around $1,100. From my experience, that is almost dead on. I have an apartment just around the corner, and one of them is, one of them is going for just over 1,000. So like 10,000, 1,030, and the other one is just over 1,100. So this again is just trying to show you what, again, these are different apartments, but this shows you what rent is for. So I was just talking before about being able to estimate cash flow and being able to analyze good deals. So this is going to be super helpful to you if you are trying to analyze a deal. One of the questions we always used to get when I'm doing webinars is like, how do I find good rents? How do I find rent comps? And I never had a good answer except like go on Craigslist and look around. And now we are offering this for BiggerPockets. So this is a really cool thing. It shows the 25th percentile and 75th percentile too. And so a nice way to use that is if you are have an apartment that you're trying to do is sort of like on the lower end of how nice it is, you might want to use the 25th percentile because the median is right in the middle, right? And then 75th percentile is if you have something that you think is nicer than average, more desirable than average, you might want to use that 75th percentile. And one of the things I really love here is you can actually zoom in and look at different comps. So if you want to be like, okay, that's a good estimate, but like, what's the one literally right next door going for? You can click on that and you can see 1175. That one's actually going for 1,300. So that's a little bit more expensive there. And then this one down here, 1101 is actually going for 1,600. So this median number is an estimate because it's taking the median average from all around that area, but then you can go in and look at the specific ones that are super close to you. So this is one of the main tools that we're offering. If you are a BP Insights member already, please note there is a survey right here. So if you take it and you have any feedback on how we can make it better, we would love to hear that. We are definitely super interested in making it better. Okay, so then the next thing we have here is what we're calling our content library or our expert analysis. So I actually spend hours every single week writing about topics that I think are going to be useful to everyone out there in BiggerPockets. So let's look at a couple of the things I've done here. I do a market update. During COVID, I was writing weekly updates about what was happening with rent and price changes. This was super interesting to do. I really enjoyed doing it. And you can see, we can click into one of these. You can see I'm basically offering how different trends are affecting the market. If you are a landlord, what you should do to fill vacancies. You can see how different landlords are, I analyzed all of the different rents going on, and I could see that landlords were on average overcharging rent for by $75, so that if they had a vacancy in that market, they should lower their rent by $75, and they're much more likely to find a tenant. So this is the kind of insights, pun, I guess, intended there. This is the type of stuff that we are trying to deliver to you by BPInsights. So it's super valuable information every single week, every single month. We are releasing really interesting information here. The most recent one I did was, oh no, actually this just came out today. I didn't even know this got released. But this is the 10 best and worst markets for year-to-date rental. So where are things doing well in COVID times, and where are things doing poorly? I also every month are going to be doing something that is like markets of the month. So you're going to be able to see, you're going to get a inside look. When I'm personally, for my own investing too, looking for markets, I will pick out some of the ones that I think are the best, so that everyone out there can go check them out and see if that's interesting to them. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is what we're calling the resource library, or we're actually going to change the name to data downloads. So basically, you can just download all this information that we've been giving to you. It's pretty nuts and awesome. So I'll just show you what some of it will look like, because I was just working with this. But remember when I talked about finding a market, analyzing deals, picking a neighborhood, that kind of stuff being super important to being able to know where to buy and when to buy, all that sort of stuff. So basically, this is just one of dozens of spreadsheets that we have out here. But you can see this spreadsheet right here has the city, state, and the median home price, the median rent, and the rent to price ratio for tons of markets. We don't have every single market in the country, but you can see there's just hundreds, thousands of markets here. So, you know, even for smaller cities, like I've never heard of most of these cities. So we're far beyond cities that I've ever heard of. We have tons, it's like tens of thousands, honestly. So you could just download this. And if you're a new investor trying to figure out, like, should I invest in my neighborhood? Should I invest somewhere down the road? Should I invest in another state? You can come in here and look at the rent to price ratio, which is a really good estimate for cash flow, and see which ones are best. So we can see that Houston has a 0.7 rent to price ratio, which is pretty useful, which is pretty good actually. But Philadelphia has almost a 0.9, which is really awesome. Eric, the passwords, Eric is asking, what do we do with the spreadsheet? Is password protected? If you look at the resource page I was just on, it will also, it will have the passwords on there, Eric. And also, is there a way to filter for rent comps to be as similar as possible? For example, if I wanted to compare 2-bedroom and not bedroom, is there a way to filter that? That's a great question. So I think we have some work to do to improve this, but basically the estimate that you see at the top only takes in things that have the same number of bedrooms. The bathrooms can alter a little bit, but it will be the same. Below that, when you're looking at the comps, those are just a little more open because we just want to show you what's in the area. So we can, hopefully in some markets, it will be just 1 bed, 1 bath, you know, just a perfect match. But if there's not that many perfect matches, we'll just show you more of them so you can see and click around on your own, but that does not impact what the estimate for the rent at the top is. But great question. Macho says, will this beta also work for small towns? Usually data software and things like Rentometer aren't the best for small towns. It honestly depends. You know, we don't have every small town. We do have some data for it. The problem with really small towns is, like, it's very hard to get a median or an average, because if there's only 2 or 3 things that happen every month, 2 apartments get listed or 2 homes get sold, the averages can fluctuate wildly. You know, like maybe somewhere on the nice side of town sells 1 month, and then maybe like a land deal sells for $20 million, and it makes it look like prices are going great up and down and up and down, which isn't really what's going on. So then I'll show you one thing. This isn't part of BP Insights. Actually, this last thing is just something that we are offering for the next week if you sign up for BiggerPockets Pro, which gets you BP Insights. It is a market analysis. So someone asked in the beginning, like, how do I compare markets using BP Insights? And eventually we hope to put this on the website and make it a part of the tools. But for now, it's super helpful, and it's something that you can use in your everyday investing. So this is actually a spreadsheet I developed to help Jamie on the Rookie podcast last week compare different things. And you'll see that the data I used is very much the data that we're talking about right now. So median sale price, rent, and rent to price ratio. So if you are a BP Insights member, you can go and find the median sales price, again, in these data downloads that I was just showing. You can go in and enter this information that you need, and it will automatically calculate for you some of the key statistics and metrics that you need to evaluate a market. So year-over-year price appreciation. So like, how much has a market's homes increased in value in the last year? So for Cleveland, it was 5%, for Columbus, 8%. Annual growth rate. So this requires a little bit harder computation known as compound annual growth rate, CAGR, if you've ever heard of that. It measures how much it grows on average over several years, counting compounding. And so I've already done all of the metrics for you. So if you just fill in these numbers using BP Insights data, it will tell you that Cleveland has averaged 12% over the last 5 years, and Columbus has averaged 9%. The same thing for rent. So you can put in rent stuff that you find on BP Insights, and you can see year-over-year rent growth. So both Cleveland and Columbus rents actually went down 2% over the last year. But over the last 5 years, even despite that 2-year decrease last year, it has actually gone up on average 3% every year for the last 5 years. So good markets to have. And then this calculates rent to price ratio for you. A good rule of thumb is anything around 1 is pretty good. So both of those check this box, whereas Arlington, Virginia, way off the mark here. So probably not a great cash flowing city here in Arlington. And then also rent to income ratio, which is something I find super helpful when evaluating different markets. So I can get into this stuff, but we are coming. I do want to have time for questions for everyone, but I will quickly just round out this thing because I think it's super interesting. If you are new and you are looking to evaluate different markets, the reason I think that spreadsheet like this is so helpful is because you have to evaluate on a couple of different metrics. Some markets are going to be great for appreciation. Other markets are going to be great for rental, for cash flow. It's very irregular that one market is good for both. So you can see that here, honestly. Like, look at the appreciation of Arlington, Virginia. It's averaging 5%, or it had 11% over the last couple of years, but its rent to price ratio, not great. Actually, these are both doing better than Arlington, so maybe I'll bite my tongue. But you can see here at least that the price appreciation in Columbus is growing faster than Cleveland, but Cleveland is likely to have much higher rent to price ratio. So there's no right answer here, but it's helpful to get this all out on this one sheet and be able to compare them to one another. And then two things that you can't do with BP Insights yet, but you can easily get this data. So I wrote here where you can get the data. So like median income, I wrote census. It's a good place to find it. So one of the metrics I personally love for comparing is the rent to income ratio. And basically all you need to do is in these cells, put the median income for that area. Again, you can find this easily in the census, and it will tell you what the rent to income ratio is. And this is super important because financial planning experts say that, a renter should spend about 30% of their income on rent. So when I look at something like Cleveland that has 36% of rent, I think two things. One, that's not a great situation for anyone. You obviously don't want to be overcharging your tenants to the point where it's creating financial stress. And two, it means that rents probably can't go up that much more because you're probably above market already for what the average person in Cleveland can afford. When I look at Columbus and Arlington, though, because it's slightly below the recommended rent to income ratio, I think that there's room for rents to grow. So that's a super helpful thing when you're looking at different markets. And I should also mention that this also works not just for comparing markets, but comparing neighborhoods, comparing zip codes. You could look at one area, one part of town in Denver, another part of town in Denver on this spreadsheet and see how they compare to one another. The last things you should put in there is vacancy and population, and it will calculate population change. I mentioned this briefly in the beginning, but I just think population change is super important when comparing markets or neighborhoods because it's simple supply and demand. If you have a market where more people are moving to that place, that makes demand goes up, right? There's more demand for rents, for apartments. But if people are leaving, that means there's less demand. And if any of you have taken econ or remember this, if demand goes down, prices tend to go down because supply is probably staying largely the same here. So it's another thing to think about. And you can see that in this spreadsheet that it's just another data point to consider that Cleveland, yeah, it's got great rent to price ratio, really some of the best in the country. But more people are leaving Cleveland than are coming, and the rent to income ratio is a little high. So to me, that says it's great, it has great cash flows now. Is that going to last? Because I think demand might go down in Cleveland and rents already might be a little too high. So they might be coming down. So something to just think about. I'm curious what you guys think. I don't know if you listened to the podcast, but what you think between Columbus or Cleveland or anything of that. So again, this is a super helpful tool. Again, this is only available to people who sign up for BPInsights in the next week. We are doing a big offer here because we want people to join the beta program, give us your feedback. And honestly, it's really the best deal we've ever had because Pro was usually it's $390. We now just added all of this value to it and we have not changed the price at all. So this is really one of the best times, if not the best time to ever buy and join BiggerPockets Pro because we're just adding stuff essentially for free into it. But on top of that, we also have this special offer that is just for the next couple of days. So we have our data downloads. We have our expert market report stuff that I just showed you. We also have this exclusive access to the market comparison spreadsheet that I also just showed you. Again, that's only for the next couple of weeks. And so I talked about a little bit about it, but if you sign up in the last, from yesterday through next week, I am hosting a special webinar just for people who sign up this week, how to find a market using BPInsights. So I'm going to go really deep into different types of analysis, different metrics that you can use, where to find great data, to find not just a great market, but where to find a good neighborhood, how to even find a good block in that neighborhood, and really how to hone in your strategy on a specific location. So that is what we got. You'll also get access to the rental tools. You can be part of our Pro Focus group, and you also get the free intentional journal. Usually that is another $40. And and it's really cool. If you guys haven't seen that, it's a beautiful journal. It helps you keep your goals. People absolutely love this. With that, you get access to our mastermind groups. So you're getting all of this on top of 20% off of Pro. So this honestly, it is part of my job to figure all this stuff out for our Pro membership. But our Pro membership will never really have a better deal than this week. So if you are considering going Pro or Premium and we're thinking about doing it right now, would be a great time to do it. All you need to do is use the code DATA, just DATA. When you're checking out, you'll get 20% off. You'll get all of this stuff. Eric asked earlier if we get access to that spreadsheet. We will email that to you, Eric. Anyone who signs up in the week will get emailed the webinar invite and the early access to the market comparison spreadsheet in the next week. Those are just exclusive to people who sign up this week. So that is what I had prepared for you guys today. I just wanted to give you an overview of what of what BP Insights is, because we've been launching it. We've been talking about it a lot on different social media channels, on our blog, because we're very excited about it. We think it can be a really, really cool thing for all of our users. But I do have some more time. So if you guys have some questions just about data, just let me know. And, let me know what you want. And now I'm here to talk about anything you want. Oh, thank you, Macha. That's super nice. You said, I love this, Dave. You're really smart. Thank you. Oh, that's very nice. You're going to make me blush, Macha. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I saw, Macha, that you said Corning, New York. I can follow up with you. I don't know off the top of my head about Corning, but we can let you know if there's data there. I went to school in Rochester, New York, so I don't think it's all that far. But thanks, Macha. I appreciate that. Yeah, Eric said he's glad he signed up yesterday. Thank you, Eric. We're super excited for you too. If you guys have any more questions, please don't hesitate. I'm happy to talk about really anything in real estate investing, what's going on with the markets, just about anything. What podcast were you on? I want to watch it. So I was on the podcast, let's see, yesterday, I think it's 16 on the Rookie Show. And I don't know, I'll follow up with you. I don't know what, it was maybe 382? I'm just kidding. It's like in the 380s. But check it out. We probably mentioned BP Insights in there. Mark said, for folks that are already pro, was it biggerpockets.com/already pro? Yes, go there, Mark. We will send you all of the spreadsheets and stuff there. Mark, if you are already pro, though, you will get access to most of the stuff I showed you today already. Just go to biggerpockets.com/insights. But for that spreadsheet, the market comparison tool, that will come to you by email in the next week or so, just as a heads up. Oh, okay. Nikki, thank you. The other podcast I was on was 379. All right. It doesn't look like people have too many questions today, but I will stick around for one more minute. What is the price for pro? Good question. It is $390 usually, but today we are discounting at 20%, which comes out to $312 a year. And then on top of that, you're getting the free intention journal. It's about a $40 value. And that's the price for pro. But good question. I should have said that. Thank you. Someone asks, okay, great question, Carl. Are you seeing any trends in rentals due to COVID-19 yet? So the main thing that I am seeing, and you can see this in the BP Insights stuff that we've been writing about in a lot of detail, is that rent prices in general, like if you look at listing prices, what landlords and property managers are asking for, it's about even. But when you look at the rents that are coming off the board, like things that are actually being filled, like vacancies that are being filled, it is down 6 to 8% from where it was earlier in the year. And that's on a national average. So that is a broad statement. It does really depend a lot on individual markets. We're seeing markets that are going through the roof up, and we're seeing markets that are bottoming out. So it really does depend. The other thing that we're seeing that I think is true almost everywhere, regardless of how prices are trending, is that volume is decreasing. So just the number of apartments that are being listed is just down a lot. I think that might indicate some vacancies, but I actually think what's going on is that more tenants are just negotiating with their landlords, finding a deal that is mutually agreeable to them, and staying in their current apartment. I personally, I think that's the best outcome for everyone in this weird scenario that we're all living through. So I kind of think that's what's going on there. Oh, Sharon, you're welcome. Thank you for joining me. Mag says, how can we start to see data reflecting how working from home will affect real estate markets? I honestly don't know. I should be clear, all the data that we have is residential markets. And I haven't really looked yet into individual locations and whether like a suburb is doing better than a rural, an urban location. I did do a bit of analysis. One of the BPInsights posts I put talks about this, that home prices, like freestanding homes, were increasing faster than apartments. I kind of found that interesting because it was like maybe people with the era of social distancing want more space. And those were up about 7% where apartments were going down. So it's just I don't really know yet. I'm personally very curious about commercial real estate into like office spaces. If those are going to start seeing prices coming down, just because tech companies, a lot of big companies might not require people to be in the office as frequently as they used to be, and that would drive down prices. Okay, we have, hi there, do you guys provide or teach how to find deals that are off the MLS or only use MLS? So we do have resources about that. I don't know off the top of my head, but I recommend just going on BiggerPockets and checking that out. We definitely have some guides, a lot of forum posts and blogs about how to find deals that are off MLS. We do have deals on BiggerPockets. You can go to our marketplace. I think it's biggerpockets.com/real estate listings. If you just go to biggerpockets.com and on the top, it just says find a deal. We do have some off-market deals there, so you can definitely check that out. Okay, how often will this deal be updated? Joe, okay, yeah. So it depends on the deal. So we have or the data. We have a couple different things. The rent are updated every week. The sale data comes to us every week as well, but it's just when sales happen. And then we also have something that I didn't really talk about today, but we're going to be rolling out soon, which is valuation data. So how Zillow has their Zestimate, we're going to have a version of that that's going to be super cool, and that's updated every month. So that will be coming up too. Shelly asked, is data the discount code? Yes, data is the discount code, DATA. That's awesome. Hopefully you are upgrading now because you will be getting one great deal from BiggerPockets. All right. Did I miss any questions here? Yeah, Mag said many companies are allowing workers to work from home permanently. Yeah, that's true. I wonder how it's going to impact the rental market. If that means that people are going to, I think there's a lot of speculation that people are going to move out of cities and to more suburban or rural locations. And I could see that happening. I don't really know. It's hard for me to say. I think that people often bet against big cities like New York and San Francisco, and they say like, it's too expensive, like everyone's gonna leave, and that's just never happened. I mean, it's too expensive for me, but people continue to live there. So I would be surprised for that. Oh, congratulations, Shelly. All signed up. That's awesome. Welcome to BiggerPockets Pro and BPInsights. I think this is gonna be super helpful to you. And again, anyone who does sign up or current Pro members, like there's surveys all over. We really want to hear from you guys about what to improve, what we can make better, because we're still in this beta period, and we're going to be launching tons of new tools, tons of new content, and we'd love to hear from you. That's awesome. Macho says yes to valuation data. Hope it's more on point than Zillow. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like I am trained in writing algorithms that do this kind of stuff. It is difficult to get individual properties right. And so one thing we're going to do that I think is a little different than Zillow is we're going to show what we think it costs, and then we're going to show a high end of the range and a low end of the range. So we're going to show you a range of what we think it costs. And we're also going to show you how good we think our guess is. Because sometimes one of the cool things about algorithms is they'll tell you how accurate they are. And sometimes they'll just come out and basically the way it works is they'll like make a guess on a house and it'll say like, I don't really know. And so we'll let you know when we don't really know. I think Zillow doesn't really do that. So we're going to do that and try and just be a little more transparent about it at least. It is very hard. Sometimes we'll nail it. Sometimes we're going to be off. But what we're going to do is just be open and honest about when we think we can make an accurate prediction and when we can't. That's a good question. So Eric asked, will we be able to use the valuation tool to compare before rehab properties and after? I don't, no, not right now. We do have our calculators, which is part of BiggerPockets Pro. And that there is a rehab estimator tool on there. So I would go on there. It doesn't work for BPInsights yet, but that is something we're hoping to do. Will Insights expand to start covering short-term rentals? I really hope so. I would really like to do that. Right now, we don't have the data for that, but I invest in short-term rentals and have a vested interest in making that happen. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in the near term. All right. Oh, sorry, Alexandra. Alexandra asked if there are any freebies to current subscribers. Yes, if you go to biggerpockets.com/alreadypro, we will get you the market valuation tool that I just sent over that we're offering for everyone who signs up this week. So if you go there, you will get that. And that is just for people who are current subscribers and people who sign up this week. We're going to be giving that to. Shelly asks, in short-term rentals, what we are experiencing is we've turned some of our short-term rentals into midterm and added an office space if need to. Midterm is 1 to 3 months. That's a great call. Yeah, I thought about doing that. That's a really good strategy. I really like adding the office too. That's smart. And 1 to 3 months is a good idea. I'm fortunate. I didn't do that because my rental is actually in a very rural location. It's in rural Colorado. And I'm actually seeing a lot of demand for it right now because I think people want to get out of Denver, Boulder, the cities, and just be in the mountains, not be around a lot of other people right now. So luckily, I haven't done that. But if you're in a more urban environment, that's a great idea, Shelly. I really like that. Really good advice. All right, well, I have time for 1 or 2 more questions if anyone has anything. Otherwise, I'm gonna go cool down. It is very hot here. I live in Amsterdam, by the way, and it is just, I moved here like 6 months ago from Denver, where there's no humidity at all. And now it is just very hot here, so warm. All right, well, thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. BPInsights, I also want to give a big shout out to the whole BiggerPockets team. Our engineering and product and marketing departments have done a really amazing job promoting this and working really hard to get this out. And it's just the beginning. So I really want to thank all of them for their very hard work here. And I also want to just say to everyone, if you want to sign up, that would be awesome. You get a lot of bonuses for signing up now. There will be a lot more value that we add over the next couple of months, and we would love your input. So please stay involved, keep asking good questions, make suggestions. We would love to hear that. And also now I can see Nikki put this up. Thank you, Nikki, to tune in today for Paul Moore's Facebook Live, which will certainly be great. And thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.